Joining us right now, a guy who knows all about college atmosphere. From The Athletic, the one, the only, Sam Amick. Good morning, Sam. Are we on speakerphone this week?
You are not.
Okay.
And you should have told me that we were having issues.
It was horrible. But what were you going to do? What were you? Listen, dude, everyone has issues. You didn't want it to be that way. You weren't trying. You're a professional. It just, listen, sometimes you prepare for the game. You go out there, you put your eye black on, you do all you can, and you take the call or go 0 for 4. It happens, dude. Wow. I
thought for sure since it ended in ended in a failure's harsh, but that it was going to be a Kings parallel. But baseball.
Oof. Yeah. Well, let's start there, Sam. Before we get to the nuts and bolts of the NBA, all week long we've been doing kind of a retrospective as the Kings say goodbye. We all say goodbye to the great ARCO Arena this Saturday. You were just a young lad beat writing for a lot of that time. So on the spot, and feel free to correct it later because it's on the spot. But do you have a memory or memories that jump out at you about the old barn? No.
So stream of consciousness. No, I mean I'm just trying to.
I know.
It actually, the Kings' last playoff win comes to mind.
Mm-hmm.
The old twisty, turny Kevin Martin layup at the buzzer.
Before we had kids.
Before we had kids. Is that true? No, I had kids.
Oh, did you?
Yes.
Was Ryder already? Okay. All right. Gotcha. Okay.
Yep. He's getting up there. Well, that's actually, wait a minute.
Yeah.
No, I'm terrible. How old is he?
Well, is he 16?
2006.
No, he's 15.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Dude.
He was born the following year. Yeah, you're right.
God.
So childless.
Yeah.
That doesn't make me a bad father. It makes me a bad mathematician.
That's why you're a writer, Sam.
Right.
Exactly. So that one comes to mind. The LeBron debut comes to mind, even though I wasn't on the beat at that point, but I was there. A ton of great memories. And it's one of those things you guys both can relate that there's so many that kind of bleed together. You were there, for half your life during every calendar year. So great place.
Yeah, I mean, I think about that too, Sam. And for you, professionally, you're right. I mean, we all think about the games, but shoot-arounds, practices. You were there all the time, weren't you?
Yeah, no, for sure. It was a place that I enjoyed, but always, to be honest, felt like, I'm trying to bring it into a good, uplifting conversation. But the truth is, even when I covered those teams, it was kind of like good times, interesting times. But I come along in late 2004, and so there was a bit of like the energy that had kind of, been left behind from that run was obviously, pretty electric. And it sounds corny and like maybe I'm pandering to your audience, but it's so true. Like the fans were incredible. And the loyal ones are still incredible. But during that time when there just wasn't as much frustration, that place didn't matter if it was a Tuesday against a bad Milwaukee team or whoever was in town, it was place was popping all the time.
Mm-hmm. Sam Amick with us on to the NBA. Sam, I am fascinated, as many are, with the Brooklyn Nets. We were talking earlier. They're my pick to win the East, which months ago wasn't a big deal, and now is kind of weird. I'm fascinated. I love the trade. I love everything about it, but there are so many caveats beyond vaccines and mandates and injuries. It's Ben Simmons. We recently heard that, in fact, yesterday, I think, that he might play in a handful of games. He might be ready for the play-in if that's the case. But what are you hearing about Ben Simmons and him eventually hitting the floor in Brooklyn?
Yeah, I mean, obviously that back problem has slowed him down, and it's got to be frustrating for the Nets. They were in such a pinch with James Harden, put so much, in that trade. Now, I think if you just looked at the trade in a vacuum, you could certainly argue they won the trade. Yes. Getting Seth Curry was a big-time addition. And so it's not like they are empty-handed at the moment. Seth has been a major help when he's been able to play. But not having Ben Simmons on the floor at this point, to me, it's just massive. Because even if he does get out there late in the regular season, You could argue that we've never seen a player with more question marks surrounding him heading into a postseason. You know, if so much of the focus, and rightfully so, is going to be on, you have his mental health, which is a different conversation, but then just his mental approach, his mental wherewithal as an athlete, when the lights are about to get brighter again. So where is his head at? And around a new cast of characters without a chance to kind of gain a comfort level, that would definitely, I think, compel me to go against you and your prediction that the Brooklyn Nets would win the East. There's just too many, question marks. Like, at their best, dangerous, total wild card of the playoffs. Kyrie, playing half the time to this point has kept him fresh, obviously, and he looks amazing. Like he's kind of alluded to, we'll see if he plays full time. But, geez, Dave, it's not like the defending champions who just won 8 of their last 10 games, just rolled through town and should have had you kind of thinking about them to possibly win the East. But I guess you're not buying the Bucks, huh?
Listen, the Bucks are certainly, with Philly on the outside, though I think they got worse with that trade. The Bucks are certainly in there. And by the way, as we had a call from Jimmy Butler earlier, wondering why he was getting disrespected. Miami's there. The Nets, dude, in the end, for me, what it generally, and this in the playoffs, it comes down to superstars. And Giannis, Middleton, and Holiday, they got a great squad. And they probably will win the East, Sam. But, dude, Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant, and possibly Ben Simmons and the rest of that squad, there's not, I don't know, is there a better duo in the NBA than Kyrie and Durant? Is there?
Is there a better duo? I don't know.
Yeah.
I think there is. They're both great, although I don't know which one you want to pick. I'm probably too close to it because I've covered him for so long, but last night was a tough night for the Warriors. They finally get Steph and Clay and Draymond on the court together, and Steph gets hurt. But, so there's not a duo between those three that I'm going to pick over Kevin and Kyrie, but that trio has got my, that's a hell of a debate. Like, is there a moment where, if the duo is more dynamic than any other duo in the league, does that matter if there's a better trio out there? And even that trio you mentioned last night, Giannis and Chris and Drew, I was there. I watched them do it. I'm not trying to pull that card, but it left a mark on me in terms of being impressed by them. And Drew Holiday in particular, that guy continues to be underrated. Is not the right word, but, I just think his two-way play is incredible. So, their trio is pretty damn good.
Yeah.
Kevin and Kyrie, though, what you're partly hitting on is that from an electricity standpoint, it's just, there's nobody like the two of them. It's just crazy. You stop what you're doing once you hear that they're having a big game again, and you lock in on the TV. And even Kyrie, much as I certainly haven't liked the way he's moved this year, it's like, God dang, you go to Orlando, they're chanting your name, chanting MVP. He's just putting on a clinic as if he's playing with, the JV team and he's on varsity. It's fun to watch. So, I understand your point there.
Well, Sam, the other team that's coming through here now is Boston. Friday, what they did to the Warriors last night, what they've done here consistently on the defensive end. They moved up to 4 as far as teams in the East. How legit should they be considered at this point?
Very legit. It's crazy as a quick general East comment. Last night Chris Middleton mentioned the Bucks need to just continue stacking up wins and not necessarily focusing on the standings, but knowing that the reality is that even though on the one side a team like Milwaukee is only 2 games out of the top spot, I think they were only 3.5 out of falling out of the play-in. Falling into the play-in, and something they certainly don't want. So everything's crowded. Boston is tremendous, man. It's fun to see their story and how much they've surprised people because, we thought that Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown maybe were nearing an end as a duo, a dynamic duo of their own, where they just couldn't figure it out, where the two of them, not even on their own, together, they were really, really good. But the supporting cast, the collective wasn't working. and you had Brad Stevens moving up to the front office, Ime Aduka coming in to coach, former King, and a guy with a lot of questions because he hadn't done the head job before. But they're good, man. They, since January 8th is kind of the date that stuck in my head. They were, I think, a game under 500 at that point. And since then, they have been far and away the best team in the NBA. And their defense is absolutely nails. And adding Derek White has been fantastic. And, Marcus Smart doing his thing, and Robert Williams, and they're great. So they're fun to watch. Tatum is another guy. We talk about electricity, Kevin, Kyrie. I mean, that game about a week ago where Tatum and Durant were going back and forth was a ton of fun. So if I was a local who was just looking to be entertained on I guess what's a Friday, I mean, I'm certainly coming out to see the Celtics.
Sam Amick of The Athletic joins us each and every Thursday at 8. Check out The Athletic, theathletic.com. Download the app. Right now, you can get a subscription for $1.99. That's insane. $1.99 a month. Imagine that. Boy, that's steal it. 8 times the price. Sam,
I'm going to ignore your weekly complaint there, Dave. I just want to give myself a pat on the back. See what I did a minute ago? I was selling tickets for the Kings.
You did.
I don't think I've ever done that before.
Well, Sam Amick, King's Shill.
Just trying to help out.
All right, well, go home and reiterate, figure out how old your kids are is what I'm trying to say, and report to us next week. Thank you, buddy.
Thanks, guys. Be good.
That is Sam Amick. We're way out of time. We are nearing